I mean, it's momentous, but it should be taken with a grain of salt, unless it's known what methods will be used to convert the materials into monetary values.
I like to take my crisps with a grain of salt. Sea salt flavour.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad, and we're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Dawson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing? What's going on?
Hello, darling. Yes, I'm very excited, Chris. We're recording this a few days in advance, and it's just come off the back of the old Game Awards that they do every single sort of winter time around this time in Los Angeles. And I've just noticed that the Witcher 4, little sort of teaser trailer has dropped, so that's pretty exciting. That's a big get for that competition, has to be said. How exciting!
And there's Grand Theft Auto, naturally won the most anticipated game of the year.
I would imagine so,
surprise, surprise.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the gaming industry who are absolutely gagging for Grand Theft Auto 6 to give the whole industry a boost. Whether it drops next year or not, who knows? But there's a lot of people hoping that they're going to. That it's going to help boost the entire industry.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I actually, if I had one dream right now, it would be to go to the UK and sit in a country house and eat Christmas food and play the brand new Indiana Jones video game. I love Indiana Jones. It's my favourite thing. Growing up as a kid, I wanted to wear the fedora, raid a temple, go in a cave, steal some treasures, which is ironic because that we have $26 billion worth of treasure coming up in today's story. And I just love the escapism of it all. And the game looks really good, and I'm delighted the reviews are decent. I'm going to do a little stream with American Pete, hopefully, in the days ahead.
Lovely.
We're going to do it there. But I just want to play it, but I can't because I've got 500 videos to do, and I've got to get everything out the door before I can relax. Like in the world of a YouTuber, December's like one of the busiest months, right? You get the videos out, and then everybody takes January off just because the ad revenue is like 3 times in January than it is in January, right?
Okay.
So if you made a video, naturally you want to get it out when the ad revenue is going to be higher, and it helps fund the costs of some of the videos and whatnot. So we've got the big old earthquake documentary coming out, which will be out a few days after this podcast, actually. That's going to be exciting. And then we've got a Wacky Weekend a bit later on. So there's a lot of things happening. A lot happening. Yeah.
Lovely.
I just want to play Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Just want to play a game.
Well, I think I got up at 6 a.m. on the wrong day to do a Abroad Japan podcast. And I texted you. I said, I'm ready. I'm sat in this chair and I've drank an energy drink. And you said, Peter, it's actually tomorrow. I was like, oh, no, I've drank an energy drink. I can't go back to sleep now. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll download bloody Indiana Jones then. I'll play that for a bit. It wasn't out yet. Which is very upsetting. So now now I've bought it. I've downloaded it. But I'm just pre-Christmas too bloody busy to find the time to actually play it. So what are you gonna do? Eh?
Have you got a good computer that can run it? Ray tracing and all that?
I got a good computer that can run it, ray tracing. I've actually seen it running on a Steam Deck. A couple of updates later,
what?
It is actually running. It's running surprisingly okay on a Steam Deck.
144p.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of upscaling AI style, but except all of their eyes are like glowing, really weird, like a really weird aberration of the engine. Everything seems to be fine apart from. But like again with Indiana Jones, there've been no good game. Well, there've been a lot of good games, but there've been no games that have been anticipated and have come out and sort of went, oh my God, this is as good as you kind of expected it to be. Dragon Age may be one. But, Indiana Jones has been sort of... it's always had some stinking games. But every now and again, that series had one. Back in the day, there was Indiana Jones point-and-click adventure, Fate of Atlantis, that I very much enjoyed, and that was a real highlight of the LucasArts sort of 90s era. But since then, you've had the Infernal Machine and a couple of other sort of things, but they've never really got it right. Batman's had a few more decent games over Indiana Jones, but this one looks like they've got it right. They know what they're doing. Wolfenstein, their versions of their renditions of
Machine Games, right?
of Blackowicz, Blazovic. I think it's Blazovic. Their rendition of Wolfenstein's World was absolutely stunning, amazing.
Chilling.
If you've never played those games, really good stuff. But yeah, the Indiana Jones, I'm really looking forward to playing it, and I just know for a fact I never will, even though I've downloaded it and it's on my machine.
It looks like they've essentially made like a film that you can play, right? There's a lot of cutscenes. It's like something like 4 hours of cutscenes, and maybe I made that up. Maybe it's 3 hours, but it looks like they've captured the pacing of it, right? Indiana Jones doesn't just have a machine gun. He uses the world around him, and in the game you can like pick up items and use those like everything from a frying pan to a dustbin to like knock out Nazis. It looks kind of fun.
It's a stealthy game, isn't it? It's a stealthy game.
It is quite stealthy, and like just that the interactivity with the world. Like there's 3 or 4 massive maps. So they built the Vatican, they've done Egypt and the pyramids, and they did somewhere I think in Thailand, and it just looks really good, man, and just what I need. So maybe in the new year I will find a way. I'm travelling a lot. If I can get it on a Steam Deck, that'd be wonderful. Just need somebody to buy me a Steam Deck this Christmas. Isn't that right, Santa Pete?
You've got a. I brought you an Evercade. You've got an Evercade.
It's not a Steam Deck though, is it?
Oh, a Steam Deck though, is it? Play your Street Fighter on the Evercade.
I'm going to ask this week that you read the story because my nose is a bit rubbish. And my voice, I believe my voice.
Go and sort your nose out, for crying out loud. Go and sort your nose out. I'll read you the story.
Sir.
Okay. It's Jason from Hong Kong. He's back, guys, if indeed he's ever there before. Hi, guys. My wife and I visited Tokyo in late July, and we stayed at a hotel in Ikebukuro. The hotel staff were friendly, and the food was excellent. One night, after a long day of touring the city, we had finished snacking on a wealth of konbini food and drink, and realised our room's bin was completely full. A common problem, I think it's fair to say. But not wanting to leave sticky wrappers throughout the night, my wife called the front desk to ask the staff to take away the rubbish. My wife spoke English when making this request, and the staff on the other end of the phone line immediately said, no problem. A few minutes later, we got a call from the front desk, and the male staff said, could you please open the door? Behind the door stood a female member of staff who was holding out 2 luggage tags. Confused, my wife slowly passed the bin across the threshold towards the waiting staff member, who pulled a quizzical expression before nodding and accepting the bin. Long story short, it became apparent that the front desk staff had misheard rubbish for luggage and had been at the ready to assist us with transporting our luggage despite the late hour. Have you guys had any funny misunderstandings or humorous mistranslations whilst in Japan and trying to overcome the language barriers? Jason from Hong Kong. I mean, are you eating? I've just stopped reading. Are you eating your Kent crisps?
No.
You didn't need to blow your nose at all. You just wanted some Kent crisps. Unbelievable. You are doing Jason from Hong Kong a disservice. I would say that, like, I mean, A, that's funny, but B, I would very much have enjoyed the fact that at the end of the hotel trip and stay, they just handed back your rubbish bags with some luggage tags on. There you go. I've had loads of situations where I've sort of rang down to reception looking for a clothes iron. Now try iron, fuku iron. Just trying to get a clothes iron, you really have to be at reception to do the little kind of
gesture
charade,
of the iron,
so to speak, the gesture of the iron. So before anyone can understand what the hell you mean,
the gesture of the iron. Have you ever had any funny misunderstandings or humorous mistranslations, Pete?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's mainly iron based. If I'm completely honest, if you stay in the modern kind of business hotel, the APA and that, most of like the login and the check-in is done over iPad anyway. So those kind of confusing kind of little escapades can be avoided a little bit. And if you're staying with Chris, if you're filming with Chris Board, Chris will check you in for you and just give you your key card. So that's good.
And pay for your hotel. As I did
and
on your
pay for my hotel.
Trip
I offered.
To Nickel.
I offered. You wouldn't let me. I bought a dumpling or two in Utsunomiya.
You did pay for the sushi though, so that was good.
The sushi.
Looks like Japan. Speaking of, that segue doesn't work. How can we tie sushi
to? You having a go?
Sushi industry is worth a lot of money, but not as much as the $26 billion Japan found in the sea near the sushi.
Yeah.
Pete, what's going on?
Lovely. Japanese researchers have discovered a boy who cannot stop eating Kent crisps. Because if you watch on YouTube, you know what you're doing. On the audio version of this, people are going to be like,
Pete Dawson's holding the crisps.
I'm eating the crisps.
Oh, no, the crisps.
You know what? I'm eating the crisps. You know
What's
what?
that?
They're Pete's crisps.
You can't eat those.
Yeah, Pete's crisps. I can't eat those. They're probably very old, to be honest. Best before. There's not even a best before date on them.
You get on with that news story. Let old Chris
You get on with
here.
that news story. You eat your crisps. But at least eat them away from the camera, you absolute monster. Japanese researchers, they've not been sitting around eating crisps. They've been working hard, uncovering 230 million tonnes of manganese deposits. Hooray! Manganese!
My favourite.
Metal, we need it. Electric vehicles thirst for it. Batteries, smartphones. Basically, Japan is trying to do its best to, find some kind of supply chain independence, which is obviously the key to a booming economy, which is something it doesn't necessarily have right now. The discovery was made on the. Shots fired. The discovery, and they're all made of manganese. The discovery was made on the ocean floor off the Minami Torishima Island, situated about 1,000 miles southeast of Tokyo. The University of Tokyo lads and lasses have been down there digging around with their computers, and they've discovered an underwater mineral field containing 740,000 metric tons of nickel and 610,000 metric tons of cobalt. This is enough to meet demand in Japan for 11 and 75 years, respectively, according to the researchers. I mean, when it comes to sort of going down the sofa and finding a couple of quid or a tenner, that's the best case scenario for most of us. But I think finding 11 years of manganese independence or 75 years of some other independence, I mean, you've got to be pleased with that. The total value of these resources is estimated at $26 billion if sold at current trading prices. So they're going to be digging around in the sea forever. And
I mean, really, 26 billion's not much in the grand scheme of things, though, is it? On a nation
well, I guess
scale.
In different, I guess they're not going to be selling it, are they? Well, they will be selling it to industry, I suppose. But we're not
going to sell it, are we? We're not going to sell our manganese.
We're not going to sell the manganese. Got to get up. Apparently, the Associate Professor of Geography and Spatial Sciences at the University of Delaware said, "I mean, it's momentous, but it should be taken with a grain of salt, unless it's known what methods will be used to convert the materials into monetary values."
I like to take my crisps with a grain of salt. Sea salt flavour.
Stop hawking the Kent crisps.
No more crisps.
If you found a deposit of 26 billion of Kent crisps in an offshore field, I mean, with this, it's all about how they're going to extract it, what techniques they are going to use to refine it all. I don't think it's as easy as just popping your hand in the sea and going.
Yes, it is. Get Pete Dawson down there with a snorkel and a spade and get us the minerals we sorely deserve.
Especially because like fishing and food is so important in Japan. They've got to be very careful. You've got to be very careful if you're getting your manganese out of the ground.
You heard it here first.
I've said it once, I've said it again.
As you know, China has pretty much just drawn a big line around the whole of the South China Sea and gone, that's ours now. And there's been a lot of heat between Japan and China and the Senkaku Islands and all that. And at the end of the day, it's mostly about controlling shipping, but also minerals, right? And China has a lot of control over the rare earth minerals that we need for batteries and EV, like electric vehicles and all sorts. And I suspect, Japan needs all the minerals it can get its hands on right now. For the road ahead.
Animal, mineral, vegetable. Wasn't there a song like that? I can't remember.
It rings a bell.
Animal, mineral, vegetable. I remember there was a video game back in the day. I think I might have made it up. Never mind.
I was looking at a chart the other day, and in this chart, it basically mapped out the next 10 years. And in the next 10 years, Japan's car industry is really absolutely stuffed because China is dominating the EV market incredibly well. They control all aspects of producing an electric vehicle, particularly sourcing those minerals, the batteries that go in the car, assembly, all the materials. And Japan is too busy still with its fingers in the pies of internal combustion and hybrids.
Right.
And I do worry a lot for Japan's car industry in the future. Because it's a real sea change up ahead, and it's not prepared. And the usual sort of moving slow kind of mentality of Japan, the conservatism or whatever, I think it's really holding them back. And China's going to have all the EVs. So goodbye. They're going to need all that $26 billion they can get their hands on.
You imagine if that the infrastructure would be such that you could probably get EV. Is it just that there's just not enough kind of charging ports in Japan?
The problem is simple. China can produce the batteries that go in an electric vehicle at such a cost that no other country can in the EU or America even, or whatever, you know. And I think that's a real problem. But maybe tariffs will save us all. I don't know. Tariffs will save us from cheap cars. But the world will change.
What do you think? You're a man who loves Britain and Kent crisps and stuff like that. What do you think of the new Jaguar? The new Jaguar, an advert that upset a lot of old duffers. The Toyota Century, WhatsApp group was agog at what Jaguar had done to the James Bond brand. Is it James Bond? No, Aston Martin and James Bond. Yeah. Whatever, that kind of like wanky brand that old men who drink Doom Bob beer get obsessed about.
You drove a fucking Jaguar. You are that man.
I did drive a Jaguar, and it was fine. It's fine. Anyone who gets obsessed with particular cars, unless it's a Toyota Century, is an idiot.
That's true.
It was all sort of tied up with a kind of like, British nationalism sort of bollocks. And so there was a lot of old men getting very upset at the brand new Jaguar. But I saw like the pictures of it. I think it looks quite cool. Very front heavy. It's got a big old nose on it.
I think I like the design of it. I thought it was quite interesting. I didn't like their ad. I thought it was very pretentious and very obnoxious, and it didn't need to be that way. And they probably alienated a lot of people.
People were sort of saying, it's very like, It
was like, change, yes, different, oh, fuck off.
But it looked like a sort of advert that we'd seen from the 90s.
Nah,
it looked it looked quite old and quite
awful.
Shit, really.
It was absolutely
got people
dreadful.
talking, though. Can't say it didn't get people talking.
It got people talking, but I think it probably alienated their core audience. Admittedly, they don't seem to want
a lot
anymore.
Of fucking gammons. They upset a lot of gammons. They're not their target market, surely, because they're, old people don't generally, invest.
Well, they'll be dead. They'll be too dead to care because they're old.
They'll be too dead to care.
But I mean, it's a silly thing to completely tear up your brand and start over. Admittedly, Jaguar are on their way out anyway. Nobody's fucking buying them anymore. But time will tell. Honestly, I will assess if the car is good or not. But I think they, whatever they do, they probably damage their brand of quite a bit from that. And it's not a good idea to completely alienate your former audience or whatever. And I think, stupid ad. Interesting concept, but that is still a concept, right? At the end of the day, the finished car isn't going to look like that, apparently. It's still a concept, so we will see. But it was interesting. I like the colour. The colour was kind of... Not the pink one, the other one looked kind of cool. It was like London Blue, or whatever it was called, right?
Yes, yeah. London Blue. Bit of London Blue for the dads.
I'll get one. But interesting move. We'll see what happens with Jaguar. We've got a little break, and then back with the fax machine with your stories, comments, and questions.
Wow.
Now we're back with the fax machine. What have we got this week from our listeners? Mr. Donaldson, fill us in.
We got a message from S from Poland. Hello, S from Poland. Hello, Silesian Chris and Pomeranian Pete. My girlfriend and I have finally got the opportunity to visit Japan in January. As we are planning our journey, there is one specific place off the beaten path we want to visit. Shirakawa. Not only do we want to see the town, but I have another secretive motive for going there. I'm going to kill her. No, I'm going to propose to her. Shirakawa is not accessible by train, so our current plan is to go to Takayama and either grab a bus from there or rent a car. Chris, since you've made a few videos in Shirakawa, what was your way of getting there? And also, what are some general tips about travelling to more rural parts of Japan where the trains just don't reach? Sincerely, S from Poland. Would you, commit to a life with another person beginning in Shirakawa, Chris?
I mean, I spoke to a helicopter pilot recently, and he was like,
"Oh, wow."
I was like, can I fly?" He was in Kanazawa, the closest city to Shirakawa, and I said, "Can I get a helicopter?" And he was like, "Yes." And I just pictured this rustic, ancient village, and then just like a helicopter just coming in, walking out, sunglasses off, like a dickhead influencer. The future that I deserve. Alas, don't do that. That would be very twatty. I drive there. It is a bitch to reach Shirakawa, and I do drive it. There are lots of buses though, really frequent. Go from maybe either Kanazawa City, which is or Takayama City. Takayama's closer. Go from Takayama, and do go there. It is a very nice place. It is a nice place, Shirakawa. But Takayama is still my favourite. Much nicer place. Greetings, Chris and Pete. Or Probing Pete and Cattle Mutilating Chris. There are currently UFO sightings in the UK at RAF, Lakenheath and New Jersey, with so many questions about what could occupy our skies. I was wondering how Japan typically views the UFO subject. Is it ostracised, like in the US? Do either of you have any personal stories to share or any interest in the subject? Beam me up, Travis. Pete. I mean, I've always had a fascination with UFOs. I don't know what I believe. I'm quite sceptical that these sightings are just Russian UFOs, because if you look at when the UFO sightings started around these military bases, RAF Lakenheath and over in New Jersey and whatnot, it was literally like a week after the US and the UK gave Ukraine the green light to strike Russia with long-range munitions. And I think it could have been Russia's way of going, look at us, we can touch you, we can get back at you, we can reach your air bases without scrutiny. I don't think it's aliens, necessarily. But it could be something. It could be non-human intelligence is the new way of phrasing it, right? And I followed it closely when some interesting, the gimbal video that came out in I think it was 2019 or 2017, and I do follow it, but unfortunately,
but didn't they instantly sort of debunk that gimbal video because it was like they hadn't tracked the movement? They hadn't tracked where the camera was pointing and stuff. No, I mean that's usually how it sort of goes.
Not a complete debunking, but it is just like it was an infrared camera and the object was passing the plane at distance and it had a parallax effect that made it look like it was moving a lot quicker than it was. And 9 times out of 10, you can find a solution to what it is. And that's
there's very few that stand up to much muster.
I sometimes I want to believe that there's something more than this, and also it can be quite scary sometimes. But from all that I bought the books, I've read the books from all these people, and unfortunately, nothing in the books that I've read indicates that there is much going on that I've seen. But I've got an open mind on the subject, and if I saw something compelling, then I might be inclined to believe something. But yeah, I do look on the UFO Reddit page quite a lot, and again, 9 times out of 10 they're like, I saw something in the sky, it was moving without any signs of propulsion. It's like, it's a fucking balloon, mate, it's a balloon. I work with cameras, so I know what things look like, and that is a balloon or a bird or an insect or something. I just don't have that. It is. I hate when someone's got something on, they've got something that they really love, and they, it's a craft or something they're really interested in. Somebody goes, you've got too much time on your hands. But I genuinely believe it is people who do have a few hours spare. I don't generally have much time to sort of look into the sky, and I wish I did. So maybe when I'm older and I'm retired, maybe I'll... retired? Can't afford that. But maybe when I'm a bit older and I've got less on, maybe I can spend a bit more time looking in the sky going, ooh. But right now I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't see... there's just a... Shut up and look in the sky.
There's nothing really that gets me going in the sphere of UFOs, and I find people who talk about UFOs, and to be honest, space in general, I find quite tedious. I don't know why.
All right, football
it's
boy.
bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I find people talking about football tedious.
That's what I mean. Wrestling and football. It's just boring. But I'm obsessed with the work of man, not the work of alien man.
Shut up. I'm
obsessed with a good 4-4-2, me.
Ridiculous, boy. Ridiculous. But I remember when I had a growing interest in UFO stuff, I told friends, and most of them rolled their eyes. And that's fair enough. I understand.
Aliens. That's what aliens do.
The truth is, with the 7 to 8 billion people on the planet, if there was something, somebody would film it. Somebody would have filmed it by now. Somebody would have showed it online, I think. And that's all there is to it. I really don't... I haven't seen much that's been in the way of... it's been compelling enough. So, yeah, in terms of Japan, UFO stuff, there's like a town in Fukushima that believes they have like a special relationship with UFOs. Like the special relationship between the US and the UK, which is about to go in the dustbin. But Fukushima, there's this mountain, and it's shaped like a triangle. Well, it's a very conical mountain, and they claim it's a secret pyramid. Well, it's just a fucking conical mountain. And they've got like a museum with loads of really gaudy, awful like face masks and drawings of aliens. And I was going to go there and make a video about it because I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, Japan's UFO town. But it was just rubbish, absolute shit, and really boring. I might go up there, I might try again. But, it sort of trivialised UFOs as well. It was like little green men, little aliens. And it sort of like removed me from it all. So it was, took me away from it. Not very cheap. But let's go up there. Next time you come over, we'll go to Fukushima's UFO town. You would love it. You would actually love it. It's a very much a town aimed at people like Pete Dawson, the wacky folk of the world.
The dreamers.
The dreamers, the believers. Keep the stories, questions, comments coming in. to broadjapanpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be back later in the week, guys. Do it over again. And for now, have yourself a good one. Stay out of trouble. Eat the crisps.
Yeah. Believe. I want to believe.
Oh.
I'm very much like, you're the Fox Mulder, and I'm the lady. Can't remember. Dana? I think it was Dana, wasn't it?
Bye.